I think we all find these kind of real-world stories the most interesting, right? So we want to continue along that theme. The next session is going to switch gears a little bit and talk about a collaboration that we had with HPE and with Splunk. This is a real-world story of a deployment at a security operations center in Central Europe. A lot of machine-generated data. To talk about this, I'm going to welcome Olivier and Piotr from HPE, hosted by Christoph from Scality. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. It's really great to be here. It's a very nice auditorium. Have a seat. So now we are switching gears. We have seen the first international one hosted by Marie-Laure. So we are switching gears to Europe now. My name is Christoph Storzum. I'm the VP Sales here at Scality for Europe. And it's my pleasure to host HPE today here on, at Scality Day. The partnership with HPE is ongoing since quite some time. So Olivier Tant, here based in France, is doing that since the early beginning of HPE, when he was joining in 2014, and driving the partnership with HPE very successfully here in France. And on top, we've got Piotr Drak. Piotr is the category manager for unstructured storage at HPE for Central Europe. And that's a bigger region I will talk about a little later. For now, Olivier Tant, your stage for having the market trends and vision from HPE.
Yes, thank you. So thanks again, Scality, for inviting us. Will I talk about AI? Yes, of course. I will talk about AI. So few figures before talking about HPE and Scality. First, data, as you know, is the life force of every business. We know over the last 10 years, the global data has been multiplied by 12. It's an amazing ton of data for AI, analytic, data lake. Organization, enterprise, invest billions in data, and all these data projects are turning into a growth engine. We all know that, okay? And what is sure is that this data lead enterprise to shift to cloud. And to be clear, today, every organization is moving and is operating data workload in private cloud, hybrid cloud, and public cloud with some kind of unpredictable cost and experience. Within the next 3 years, anything not connected to AI will be considered like obsolete or ineffective. As you see, AI is moving from niche to priority number one for you, enterprise, organization. But in fact, everybody goes to AI, but very few organization is really extracting value as of today from AI. If you take some figures, IDC say 1 of 10 POC on AI really turn into production. BSG say that 5% only of the enterprise will really achieve measurable value from this AI investment. So this is really a pain today to invest on AI. And the key thing today is it was good at the time of the first step of AI. It was good when we were just doing labs or technology watching. But now, as we see, and from what we discussed before, we are at the era of Gen AI, agentic AI, and now everybody, you, organization, enterprise, have to accelerate. You have to accelerate, otherwise you won't be able to protect, to develop your business, and of course, to beat competition, to get customer satisfaction, etc. So this is key. Within 3 years, 75% of the AI workload will be driven in hybrid solution. Why? Why hybrid? Because of, I would say, technical, economical, but also regulatory constraint that a public cloud today cannot handle on its own. You need a hybrid solution today, to be sure. What does that mean? That means that today the data are big, are very weighty with AI. And so you need to process the data very close from the storage, very close from the source. You also have concern about, I would say, sovereignty. Of course, you have lots of vertical like FSI, Gov, healthcare. They need to put the data on very specific or even private environment. Then, of course, you have the cost issue. With AI, of course, you can train model into the public cloud. But when it comes to inference and when it comes to the data storage, it's better to store in your location, in your place. Performance, of course, performance, you need to get off from the bottleneck of the public cloud. Lots of things like that. Resilience, an hybrid solution will offer you better redundancy and business continuity than every single public cloud. And of course, you need to go away from the vendor locking of the hyperscaler. So, saying that, of course, you need to turn into hybrid cloud for your AI. And this is what we do at HP with Scality today. So now, what do we need, what organization need to unlock the power of your unstructured data for AI success? Once again, you need to have global data access, and you need to have data quality. This is what we bring also with Scality. Any kind of access over the country, the territory, the region, and data quality can be classification, tagging, okay? You need a scalable and secure infrastructure. Once again, high availability, redundant, quality of service. You need simplicity, no complexity, no locking, and specialization. When it comes to AI, it's not only about storage, it's also about NVMe interconnect, GPU, all this specialized stuff we can deal with you on your location. And as we saw, it's also about trust and control. Once again, sovereignty is key. Your data are your gold, I would say, and we need to take care of it, not to expose it to the world. We have to take caution about this trust, control, and sovereignty issue. So all of this is what we are doing with Scality. Of course, we started the adventure more than 10 years ago, and it was more or less about, I would say, big data 1.0, data lake 1.0. Then after we moved to AI. Of course, today every single data initiative is turning to AI, and today we are working together with Scality. So once again, like Erwan was saying, when you want to think big and specialized, think about the ring. When you want to think, I would say, fast, simple, and standardized, you can go with ARTESCA. And this is what we do, offering lots of reference architecture with Scality for years and years. We have all our generation of Apollo and now Alletra servers, ProLiant servers, turning with Scality over years at the scale of petabytes everywhere, every vertical, every customer, lots of country. And once again, I think we are able to check all the boxes I mentioned. Sovereignty, scalability, simplicity, protection, all this stuff, we are used to make it. We are used to handle it with Scality and, of course, with you in this room, our partner and customer. I won't double what has been said before, but once again, what is just magic with Scality is this is simple, at scale, and we can achieve all these points. You can bring true protection, geo-dispersion, resiliency, immutability, high availability. You can bring, you can go at every scale you want. You can start small and go very big. And of course, the key thing also is simplicity. You have the cloud experience with a private and an hybrid solution at your place, or why not at a hyperscaler. I will stop there. Few words about, once again, where we are with Scality. In fact, everywhere, in all this industry, in all this use case. I'm used to go in this event for years now, thanks again to Scality. I'm used to cover French business case. This time, I will let the mic to my colleague, so to Piotr, which will cover one business case in Central Europe. Thanks.
Thank you, Olivier. Great introduction. Yes, so first, just to give you imagination what Central Europe means for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. It's not what maybe you would think of, but obviously the core is this traditional Central Eastern Europe. But you can see, for instance, Kazakhstan, which I've been many times in this country, is part of my region, and I confirm it's a very vibrant economy. And just giving the diversity of the region I'm working for, and the use case I will be showing you in few minutes, I can tell you that the world is changing so fast that in each and every country you see on this map, this kind of projects are happening, which kind of proves the importance of what we are doing together. And by the way, this is an amazing place, so thank you for inviting me. It's super cool, and I'm first time on Scality Day, but been with Scality for many years. A quote of William Hewlett. I guess many of you know that Hewlett and Packard, two gentlemen from California, were actually the founder of Silicon Valley. Yes, in the garage, famous one, just before Second World War. And we kind of inherited part of their story as Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which like legally started 10 years ago. But we still try to, of course, move to the principles of gentlemen of Hewlett and Packard, and some of you also might have heard of great HP way that they started, where not only the customers were obviously super important, but first of all the employees that we need to take care of, because the good employees obviously will also make sure that the customers they deal with are very happy, and this is what a lot of people in HPE still try to do. Why Splunk? I think it's also not a surprise to most of you that the vast majority of data today is being actually created, generated by all sorts of machines. The things we are wearing, the cars we are driving, the devices at our homes we are using, but also the machinery and the industrial sector that actually generate a lot of data. Obviously, the sensors from Internet of Things devices. This is something that we need to not only take care of, but also need to make sure it's secured. And there is a specific market for it. It's called Informational Technology Operation Management. As you can see, the number is very big. Some estimation says it's only close to $50 billion. It doesn't really matter the nominal number itself. It matters that there is a huge need for this kind of solution. So actually, we know what we're doing with the data generated mostly by machines, and this is most of the time unstructured data, but also we need to make sure that it's done in a very secure way, so we don't get any breaches. That most of the famous one I'm also sure you know. So also this sort of application are divided into two like subdivisions, subcategories. So security, information and event management, and information technology operations and analytics. And Splunk claims to be the market leader in both of them. That's why a lot of companies, institutions are looking for this kind of solution. And this is exactly the case of a customer from our region, in this situation from western part of it, one of the German-speaking customer from German-speaking countries, in the transportation infrastructure business, let's put it this way. We can't officially reveal, at least yet, the name of the customer, but to give you imagination where the customer is kind of located. So we are talking about a very big scale and a lot of potential data breaches that customer need to deal for. But when it's come to use cases and what was actually the very important for our customers, you can see the most important one that actually Splunk is focusing on. And Splunk's strategy in general is to move everything to the public cloud. If you speak to colleagues from Splunk, they really don't think much of the actual hardware. They obviously take care, first of all, of the use cases and how customer will be using their software. But obviously every software needs to run anywhere. And it can be obviously public cloud, but for many customers like our from Central Europe, some specific use cases prevented them to go to the public cloud. That's why they came to us, to HPE, to Scality, to come up with the joint solutions. And for them, the most important was that they couldn't put the data because of the regulations, which is very important case in Europe, especially in the European Union. but also they were concerned of the privacy of their private data of the employees, but also of the customers. And also need to make sure that they have 100% access to the data, and first of all, a control of the data. Obviously, they could kind of assure that there will be no unexpected breaches. But obviously, there will be more concerns from other customers from different sectors, like financial, but also the cost question that always comes with public cloud. And I've been an active user of AWS services, which I love as a tool for some use cases, but definitely not for a large scale using and transacting the data and analyzing it using AI. It's great for quickly test some things, make sure that what we want to do is going to the right direction, but then we should always consider moving the data closer to us, also to decrease the cost. And for our customer, the main use case was security operations center. So first of all, they wanted to be like 24/7 kind of a center, like a management panel where they can control everything that is happening when it comes to security. So protecting the data, the infrastructure they take care of, and if there is any breach, obviously to react quickly. And obviously, they also needed to think of the future. So they needed a very scalable solution, so not only in terms of capacity, but also in terms of performance. So also it doesn't put the risk on the security when they need to actually expand in the future. So their main workload obviously was built on the Splunk system. In this specific case, they wanted to use Splunk Smart Store, which disaggregate the compute power which run on classical servers like HPE ProLiant servers from the data plane, how we call it, or when the data resides. In this situation, it was obviously S3 storage on Scality. But at the same time, obviously, this system doesn't work in the vacuum. So our customer was also updating their virtualized environment, and everything obviously came from one provider, which in this situation is obviously HPE, but the very important portion that is Scality, and that plays a crucial role here, that we can actually give the customer what they needed. So the compelling event, the biggest customer challenges was exactly this prediction of the future growth, of making sure that system is performant at any situation, any scale. That's why they chose this Splunk Smart Store model of deploying the Splunk, as I said, to disaggregate the compute part from the storage part. And obviously they needed always to think about the regulations, the bidding rules that they have. That's why they actually reached to Scality, to HPE, to help them to go through the process. So everything is done accordingly to the rules, and all the concern, especially with the security of data privacy, was met. This was super important for this customer. And eventually, obviously, HPE with Scality could provide this one end-to-end solution, which customer is very, very happy for. And the outcome that they got was actually everything that I've already said. So they got performance at scale, not only in terms of capacity, but when they needed more compute, they just add more servers. When they needed more storage, they add just more storage. And obviously, they got what they need, the most important thing. So the SOC, yes, so the Security Operation Center environment, that actually also could make sure that their business continuity of the not only the center itself, but the business, so the transportation infrastructure is kept. So, you know, decreasing, limiting the potential downtime. So the way even we can upgrade Scality, right, is crucial here. So we can't allow to have even a minute of a downtime when we, for instance, do the upgrade. And scalability, obviously, I also said for the future expansion, the joint solution is just perfect, because all of you here know how nice we can expand. Just a quick look at the architecture before I go to the final slide. So this is a very simplistic, simplified architecture, with obviously in the backend is much more complex, but this is exactly how we with Scality can simplify things for this customer. So we can see here we have actually 2 data centers. In each data center there is a Scality RING, they replicate reciprocally. So you can have one source and replicate the other side and the other way. So this is what Scality RING can allow. And obviously there is somewhere the Splunk deployment itself, which obviously runs in the servers, which hosts only very little amount of data, which is called in Splunk hot data, and all the other data, which is actually called warm data. We don't talk here about archival data, cold data, the data that can be immediately put up to those servers in case we need this data. So we can actually archive the data, keep it for many, many years, but still whenever we need it for some reasons, we can bring it up quickly and don't waste the time for it. So the final thoughts, what actually customer achieved with this. So customer got the scalable solution, yes, with disaggregated from compute and storage, obviously very secure within their own premise, full control of the data, so no regulator can actually undermine what customer is doing, and then make sure obviously that they have a full control within their security operations center of entire data pipeline, how we also many times call it in data analytics. And obviously in the end what was very important for the customer, especially for the big one with multiple branches even in many countries, he got one single point of contact with, in this situation because of our alliance partnership with Scality. This is HPE, with obviously Scality as always our big partner that help us in any situations. And actually I was privately involved in few even with Chris when we immediately could jump on the call with a customer and Scality support and HPE and solve the issue very quickly before any bad things happen. So this is a super important thing, especially for the customer in Central Europe. So that's it from me. I think very soon we are having the break, but I will leave it for the host. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, Piotr, for presenting the use case. So for this specific customer in public sector, obviously data sovereignty was key. The ease of use, the scalability in the project is that successful that we not only replicated that scenario from one data center to another central region, but even double the capacity in the first year already with additional requirements coming up. So highly successful project. Thank you.